appreciate you taking the time. I'm sorry that this has taken as long as it has, not a year in the making, but over, we overlapped, right? So,
Absolutely. I think Christmas is one of those times it's just chaos, and then my inbox is just becoming like I reply to everybody who takes the time to message me, but like some days I just need like a day or two off because my brain almost like can't keep up with like the volume that's happening.
yeah, right. I'm sure that there's a lot that, you're being hit with all the time, from all the fans and just, people who enjoy what you're doing and or people who come across you, however it may be. I'm sure you get a lot of different crazy messages,
Yeah, but like I say, if someone takes the time to message, as long as it's like, not, I'll reply.
Right. Well, I want to say thank you so much again because you are the first person who has reached out to me in the music industry. At least I've talked to several people, not anybody too massive yet, still kind of getting my
Yeah.
foot in the door with music, but I love it very much and am obsessed with it, I would say. So I'm very flattered and appreciative of you, wanting to chat. And again, your stuff is phenomenal. I apologize for the initial reaction when you did reach out, though, because I felt very embarrassed by that. But I've listened
Oh
to
no,
your
I
whole
don't know.
catalog since.
Oh, thank you. Well, you came up. I don't know. I just saw it on like I don't know what. I think I saw it on Instagram, like on Explore or something, and I was just like, this seemed like a really wholesome chat. And obviously, I get approached all the time to do them, and I've done a one in the US recently with some of the old. Well, they're still in no bragging rights, and yeah, it just was really great. And I thought, well, what better way to expand the market than to reach out to another country?
Yeah, that never hurts. There's a lot of world.
That
So
is true.
I think it was around when I spoke to Casey Carlson. I think you might have saw that one, if my
Yes.
timing remembers. So, and she is phenomenal as well. Shout out to her. But Jesse, all right. Well, let's talk about some music and things. Talk about you. Going to put you in the spotlight as we love to do. And first of all, I'm very fascinated and excited to talk to you because of the fact that you are not from my country, right? So over
Yes.
across the pond, as they'll say. And something that fascinates me so much, especially with singers who have accents. I mean, it's a thing in just acting in general, right? Like you guys are so great at getting rid of your accents. I think when you want to, maybe more people, some others better than others, but it's a talent I would say most non-English speakers or non-English accents have. So I'm a big fan of Vukovi as well. I don't know if you know that band, but
Yeah,
Janine
yeah.
Shilstone, Scottish, very thick, very, very thick accent when she's just speaking. But you and her, both of your accents totally go away when singing. And I'm curious, like, is that something did you have to work on that initially? What kind of, I guess, happens? How do you describe that whole
No,
element?
I don't feel like I have it. I don't feel like I think just go back to Janine. I've met her a couple of times over the last couple of years. She's really lovely, very Scottish, and but a really nice girl. But no, I don't feel like I think about my voice when I sing. So it's not something I try and like change when I sing or anything like that. So no, I can't say there's anything I do to I just open my mouth and it comes out, and I don't really think about all my accent because I think I sound very, Queen's English, just very British. My band are all from Wales, but I'm
Mhm.
from England, so a lot of people think I'm quite well spoken, but I guess the Welsh has just got the Welsh accent is beautiful. I love being in Wales.
Yeah, and a lot of people think you're Welsh, aren't they? Don't they?
Yeah, I get that all the time, and that's understandable. But no, I'm English and proud, but I am very honoured to be part of the South Wales music scene because that's where some of the greatest bands in UK history has come from, really. Funeral, Bullet, the list goes on. So yeah, Holden
Absolutely.
Absence.
Yes. Oh, yes. Great ones for sure.
Yeah.
And so I discovered something else recently too, Jesse, and I'm excited to talk to you about this because I didn't know it was as much of I mean, I guess a debate right now, or has been a debate as metal has continually grown and burst onto the scene. And I mean, so great seeing it open the Olympics this year and all that fun stuff, or last year technically now. But
Yeah.
there's a cupping debate, right? With the mics. Where do you fall on this line here?
I think I've been asked that question before, and honestly, I probably do cut my mic. I feel like, if anything, I've probably subconsciously watched many front women and men over the years do that, and it sounds great. I know everyone's got a mixed response to that question, but for me, cupping the mic, I don't feel like it has no like I know I do that, and I have no shame. And that's where I stand with it,
I feel
regardless what
it's
the
got to be
outcome.
hard not to, right? I mean, you're just kind of up there doing your thing in the moment and
Yeah,
all.
and it's like a it's a nice it's a nice like especially when you get heavier, because obviously I
Right.
sing and then scream, so it's like when you're getting into it, it is kind of just a natural instinct for me to go all like all that
Yeah.
remains, it really, yeah, that's, I have no, I know it upsets people, but sorry, not sorry, I think the
Why
answer for
why do
that.
you think that is? Just traditionalism
I
or
think there is like I think there is something about, there is like a technical reason why
right.
people don't do that. And I certainly know from doing it occasionally that there can be really quite mighty feedback,
Mm,
like a big high pitched noise. So I guess from a technical perspective, I think there are reasons why.
right.
But in the moment, I mean, you could tell me to not do something and I'll do it anyway live because I just go into another like dimension.
Well, yeah, it's funny. I was watching you did I don't know when you did the podcast, but there was one that released like this week a couple days ago too, and I would check that out and it was really fun listening with you and the guys. But what you were saying how yeah, you just kind of you turn into a different person when you get on stage, right? And I'm sure a lot of people get in kind of that element as well. But for you, I'm curious, like, do you have to channel anything, or is it just you get up there, you know it's time? What is kind of the before looking when you get on the stage? Like, is there a ritual? What kind of stuff do you do before you get up there?
Well, before I get up there, I am just filled to the brim of anxiety, like filled, regardless of the size. I can be playing to like 100 people or 10,000 people. Um, all I know is that my anxiety goes sky high. So in terms of rituals, what I do, it's probably a lot of breath work, a lot of like basic yoga. I made the mistake when we played Download last summer to kind of take a little peek at the crowd, and I just could not believe the size of the crowd, and I went into like a bit of a hype. I kind of got a bit like overwhelmed. So I do a lot of patter cake with the boys, which is something I enjoy doing, like the motion of
Oh
that,
yeah, I
because it
know.
kind of helps like release some of the pent up energy, and naturally, you're all adrenaline fueled, so it just kind of passes on the good energy to each other. But I am completely fueled on stage by adrenaline, so I just go into this completely different like world, and adrenaline just, I'll listen back to like vocals or even look at how I've performed and think how or why did that happen, but I seem to have no control of the adrenaline side of it. It just goes like
I imagine you got to be pretty exhausted after shows done.
I am, but what's happening the last year or so, I always make an effort to go out and any fan that says they would want to hang around and say hello. Well, since I've gone live, any band I've ever been in, I've always gone out and said hello to the fans, and it's getting to the point now where I'll step off stage and say, just give me a second, just let me catch my breath. And I'm standing in queues now for anything from like an hour to honestly like 2 hours just having photos.
Mhm.
So I don't usually get back to the green room for a while. Um, and when I do get back to the green room, I'm always like, I just need a minute. Like I feel like I've got off stage, my adrenaline's up here, and then you just back to back with photos and hellos, which is, I mean, what a privilege to even have people want to come and do that. But it's definitely by the end of it all, and when the adrenaline starts to wear down, you definitely the tiredness kicks in for sure.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, that's got to be, yeah, crazy, crazy amount of, yeah, just feelings and emotions going through the body after those kinds
And
of
there's a lot
things.
of people that obviously like there's we're really lucky. Our fans are amazing, and like they'll always come with gifts or loads of handmade, exceptionally talented gifts get given out to us, and it's like there's a lot of conversations and questions answered, and it's not just like, hey, have a photo, go. There is literally like, I mean, sometimes the security are literally tapping on my shoulder being like, you gotta go. But they most venues are pretty sound. They let us carry on.
That's good. Yeah, I know that they can be pretty strict with that, with, we're trying to go home, get out of here.
Yeah, curfews and stuff. So
Yeah.
but if they've stood in a queue for like an hour or so and they get kicked out, I'll make an effort to go actually like out of the venue and see them, just
Mm,
because, you know,
yeah. Made all that effort.
yeah, least I can do when they've been stood for an hour.
Of course, of course. What does an average day look like for you, Jesse? Because I know what you also teach singing, right? To people, I imagine virtually, maybe also in person
Virtually, yeah.
too. Yeah. I mean, just what kind of does the day look for you typically?
So, for my first sort of year in Dream State, I had a full-time corporate job. So I was doing a full-time job in recruitment and managing, and obviously like doing the band and trying to have a social life and see family and all that good stuff. And I got made redundant the year before last. And I kind of took that as a sign that with the schedule that I had coming up and all these tours that just get kind of dropped or shows on us very last minute, I just decided to like take the plunge and just try out this musician thing for because of like the scale it is and how busy we are. Felt like it was right. So a typical day now for me, I work part-time in an office just to help cover my bills and my outgoings. And then I created my company, which is Jessie Powell Music. So for example, today I've had a mixture of clients. So I've done a bit of ghostwriting. So I've done a bit of like writing for a band on a metalcore track. Then they'll sort of, if they'll sign off on it and send me an invoice. I've done a bit of band consultancy today, which is like one-off management
Mm,
classes,
hmm.
especially for like new and up and coming. They might want advice. I've been DIY for like 2 decades, so I think people respect my graft and have seen what I've done in previous bands and obviously in Dream State. And my most my most popular class is singing lessons, so I have quite a few of those. Um, but I have a border collie dog called Dillinger, so my day will look like walking Dill. I've started lifting again, so I lift, walk Dill, teach, walk my dog, make some food, and then my husband will get home and we'll walk, and then I teach. Most evenings I'm teaching till about 8:30, 9. But honestly, like so grateful that I made the company because I just thought I need to cover my bills, and I never expected like 7 months ago for it to be what it's become. So thanks to everyone that has booked. I've actually taught people in the USA. I've taught people in like Europe. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, my day can vary, but predominantly it's like walking my dog, teaching, and the lot as of the last few months, I've been writing a lot, just getting my head down, all things dream state, and just writing, 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 um, just trying out different variations of songs. So I feel very blessed that for the first time in my life, I can actually say, I'm effectively a full-time musician now. So it's
Hey, there we go.
yeah, only took me 20 years to get here, but
Better late than never.
that's it. It's really refreshing not to be stuck to a corporate from sort of,
Mhm.
7 a.m. till 5, 6 p.m. But I do miss my salary and I do miss
Mm.
my bonus. So I'm broke, but I have a lot more freedom to just go off on a tour or
Right.
do a last minute show. So you kind of, there's always sacrifice, right, for
Yeah.
freedom.
Yeah. Oh, sounds like you're definitely staying busy though, Jesse. Congrats on you notice everything. Very
Thank you.
multi-talented. Swiss Army woman, even though not Swiss.
Ah, yes, thank you. I'm working really hard, but it's yeah, I do try and take a bit of time out. Like I have like a day or two off just to like, because burnout is real.
Right. Yes.
So
What what is the most difficult thing about teaching singing? And like, did you ever imagine that you would want to do something like that? Because I mean, you got to focus so much on yourself when you're a singer in your own right, you know?
again, like this came around sincerely, and I noticed I noticed a lot of other artists in a similar sort of level to myself. They are very fortunate where they create like channels where their fans will like gift them money, like
Hmm.
you know, not even in a weird way, like they might just spend time with them, or
Yeah.
they might sell like pictures, or you know that they'll make money off their fan base. And it really got me thinking, like, I don't know, I tried the whole Patreon thing, and I don't think I plugged it enough, and I'm sure if I actually like really invested in it and like had the energy to update it all the time, it might actually have more than it does. But I was getting so many messages. Before I created my company, I was being asked to feature on songs. I was being asked to, do you write music for other bands? Do you teach? Do you do band management? I was being asked so many questions. So I just started like writing down all the ones that became really like popular. And it's sort of branched out now to like, I do like DJ sets, I do like content creation, which I never thought I would do, but it pays very, very
Right.
well, and I'm getting some really like insane brands like reach out, which is just unbelievable. So to answer your question, I never thought this would be my future. I always thought I'd be in a very corporate environment, but I never thought that I'd be in dream state. And my world in the last just shy, you know, officially like 2 years, just over 2 years, but unofficially it's more like nearly three.
Hmm.
My whole life, I don't recognize the person I was back in like 2022 anymore.
Right.
Like I am a completely different person. And I think having that courage to just bite the bullet and create my business has now meant that I could be anywhere in the world with Dream State, and I can be earning money to cover my mortgage and my outgoings. So the plan is to keep like pushing the business and become, you never know, I might become like the next Zen of Screaming, but a UK version.
Yeah.
You know, I keep getting compared a lot by my clients, like, oh, you know, you literally could be the next one of them. But obviously, that I'm you're talking like legend status there. So for now, I'm just very grateful that bookings are coming and my bills are being paid. I don't know if it's something I'll do forever, but I will say I certainly feel a sense of pride and gratitude when I've been teaching all day today, and every client's different and every want is different, and it just feels really, I don't know, I've never gone to a job that I love so much as I do teaching music. So I think I'm definitely doing what I'm supposed to be. It's just funny how it's came about for me after spending like all my life from leaving school working in like very corporate
Yeah.
salesy type roles.
It's the stuff you never expect to happen, right? It always works
Who
out in that
knows?
kind of funny way.
You might speak to me in 5 years and Jessie Powell Music has become like a huge entity, and it's what I do, you know, more and more. But for now, I'm just grateful to have like, I haven't had to ask my husband or family or anyone for a penny. I'd happily stay up till 9, 10 o'clock at night and just take bookings if it means that I can like, I want to be self-sufficient.
Yeah, I mean, that's a massive accomplishment, Jesse. So I think you should be
Thank
very
you.
proud of what you've
Thank
done
you.
and what you've been doing. So it is really, really cool to see. And I mean, you mentioned kind of the comparisons there with, you know, the legend status and getting to that. And I'm very fascinated to pick your brain about it because some people, I think it's flattering no matter what, but some people don't like that, right? It's more like, no, I don't want to be that person. I want to be me. I want to be the first me. I don't want to be the next that person, you know?
That's exactly how I feel. So it's
Okay.
lovely to it's no, it's absolutely lovely for people to make the comparison.
Hmm.
But I'm very proud of being like Jessie Powell Music. So you won't get an imitation of something else. You'll get unapologetically myself. So yeah, I don't, yeah, obviously I can have people I look up to and everything, but I don't want to be like a carbon cut of something
Right.
that's
Yeah.
already exists. I want my, and I think I've got that. I think I definitely teach different, and yeah, I think what I offer is what I definitely bring to a lot of my students, I think is like raising their confidence. I think a lot of my students have really echoed how much confident they, how more confident they, I'm not speaking correct English, how much more confident they feel since having my sessions. So yeah, even if people just come and have a bit of a confidence boost and go away feeling good about what they're doing, then I've done my job.
Yeah. Absolutely. Can't beat that. Very gratifying indeed is always helping people. So good deal indeed. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy, Jesse. Like I want to talk about Dream State, of course, but it's such a unique sound that you guys have, and you specifically, of course, an incredibly powerful and amazing voice. I'm not just saying this because I'm talking to you, but it's very, you have a lot of range, obviously, with the opera, like you said, and we don't even see like that at its max potential in Dream State, obviously. But
Yeah.
before we talk more about Dream State, I want to ask you because you mentioned on the podcast a couple days ago about how your dream is to be in like a real thick and heavy band to like
Oh, yeah.
really let it all out. And I want to know what is the fascination with this. I would love to hear it, but why is that kind of something you really want to do?
Since I was really young, I have always wanted to front like a really heavy band. I think I went to see like All That Remains when I was in my early teens. That kind of vibe,
Hmm.
job for a cowboy. Um, real like I just liked how they did those high highs, and like I just found like I could naturally just imitate them. Like if I hear a song, like I'm doing a vocal cover at the moment for August Burns Red,
Mm.
Redemption, and like I'll just play it in my ear and then I'll sing it back and then I'll listen to it and I'm like, okay, that's the same. So like I can just like copy it very comfortably. So like I learned that very young, and because of that I was more drawn to like the Linkin Park and
Hmm.
the Limp Bizkit. So my dream is still like one day I'll come in, the song will just be disgusting. Like just that's my scene. Like I love like I was in a more like a metalcore bands prior to Dream State, and I love the hardcore scene. I'd love to be part of it. And I think my vocals could I think I could do well in a like a like a death metal, like I can't even, there's so
Something
many genres.
crazy.
Yeah, like just heavy, but
Right.
with like like the knock loose vocal, but then with
Mm.
like so like a hardcore vibe but with
Yeah.
death metal. I'd love that.
Yeah, I
I'll never
know.
change that. I'll be 50 coming saying like I've dropped my first EP and it's gonna be great.
And I wrestled a bear once too. I know you're a big fan of them, right?
I love like the, I mean I loved it when Courtney was in it, but I love it like
Yes,
early doors,
original.
and obviously I'm not an original singer of Dream State, so I'll always have respect for anyone that's jumped in. But I remember just hearing her on the telly, and like it was the song, I'm terrible with song names, but it's a song where they're like in the garden and they're having like a party, and there's all like cake, there's like a food fight, and
Oh yeah, I just watched that music video this week. It's the
well,
these aren't real dog voices or something like
something
that.
crazy cool ass name like that. And I
Yeah.
just remember like watching it on telly and being like, it's the carnage and the chaos of it all. It's just so, and her composure is just
Hmm.
so cool. Um, let's see what happens. I mean, at the moment, I'm so blessed to do Dream
Hmm.
State. So even if it was just something I dropped for fun, but I will keep badgering the boys to let me drop
Right.
one really heavy song.
I think that's a perfect segue then, Jesse, because I always am so fascinated too with song creation and kind of what goes into it, especially from the singer's perspective, since you're the kind of person in the lead of everything. Um, I think you might have touched on it a little bit. Again, I'm going to go back to that podcast a couple of times here because shout out to those guys. But what would you say, which Dream State song means the most to you, has meant the most to you so far?
Oh God. Well, I really I really enjoy like their old stuff, like the
Hmm.
stuff pre me. Then we still do like White Lies and Primrose. We still do some of the, not lots because we've got loads of our own now,
Hmm.
but we still always honor like, sometimes it's 5 songs, sometimes it's four, sometimes it's three. It just depends how long our set is. So I really do love singing all the old stuff. But in terms of like things that I've brought to the table, I'm predominantly the songwriter for Dream State in terms of, so Alid heavily does the instrumental side of things along with Tom and Jake, and then I will come in and create the melody and the lyrics. Um, so for me, Chin Up Princess, that actually is a rework of a track that I released with Dan Lancaster. Um, who went on to work with people like Bring Me, and he's huge. I mean, I think he now works with Muse as like their guitarist. But a long, long time ago, I worked with Dan, and one of my very early bands, I was like 16, and Chin Up Princess is a rework of a song I wrote when I was about 16 years old. So to be given the platform by Dream State and the trust to let that chorus like shine in a
Yeah.
bigger capacity is very, very special because it's gone down really, really well. Um, and yeah, to have something you wrote like a very long time ago, obviously it's been tweaked,
Hmm.
but
The
like
original idea and Inception.
yeah, and the chorus is actually still very much the same, and like because they were my words and everything, I could just transfer over. But Chin Up Princess for me stands out, but stuff like Still Dreaming and even Bloom, like they're all very much like suppressed emotions in my brain that
Hmm.
I like write on paper. So every song feels important for different reasons. Um, I like them all if I'm honest,
Of
but
course.
Chin Up Princess for me, I just think seems like a really cool story because it was something that was done so
Yeah.
long ago, and I never thought in a million years it would get the radio play or the live play that it has now on a much bigger scale with more with better music like music behind it.
Mhm. Yeah, I've as somebody who, I think everybody battles anxiety. And you mentioned a little bit of years before getting on stage there earlier, but Anxious State of Mind, that one, I love that song. That
Thank you.
one kind of hits home a lot, of course. But I mean with that one, I'm sure you've drawn a lot of just kind of the own personal things with that one as well.
Yeah, and anxious state of mind is actually for like I feel like I really do sort of take a minute in that song and sort of speak to the crowd because most people in that room will be suffering in some way with their mental health. And I think the feedback I've personally had from that track is that a lot of fans have been like, thank you so much for sharing that because I feel this way. But obviously, it's really nice to feel like we're not alone
Mhm.
because we're all together. And like, I just feel like it brings everyone together in the set. And I think there's a really lovely message there that, you aren't alone. And yeah, I do enjoy singing that one live, but it definitely has had. I mean, anyone who reaches out to me and says anything about our singles or our tracks, I just feel really flattered that they've even listened and that they can resonate so deeply with the words that I'm writing because it all is literally coming from my head and my heart. So it's nice that people, for me, it's been nice to feel like how many other, to see that there's like obviously, I wish we weren't struggling, but it's
Mm.
almost, there's a comfort in
Right.
knowing that there's like, you're not alone with those
Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's what's really cool about Dream State, obviously, is I think the band lives up to its name. There's a very kind of, not fantasy's not the right word, but obviously dreamy is the best way.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
vibe
no,
that you
yeah,
guys
yeah. I'll
have.
take that.
I mean, maybe sometimes a nightmare, but that's okay. It's all about the sleeping. Um, what would you say has been your favorite music video to make so far? Because, those have been very cool and very artsy and artistic to the song as well.
Again, Chin Up Princess was a really cool video because we got to like, I don't know, there was like chains and flowers, and I wore like, I feel like I really, like I'm quite a tomboy, so for me to wear like a dress and have makeup on, like to that extent, um, kind of felt like I was like pushing myself creatively. So Chin Up Princess was really cool. But then our very first video we did, Taunt Me, where we like came out to the world, that was special because I look back at the person I was even in that video and I'm like, God, she was so scared. I had a great videographer, Zach, and like he made me feel super comfortable. But it had been a long time. I'd done videos pre-Dream State, like many videos in my more sort of metalcore bands. And actually, it's crazy how many fans reach out and be like, I love your old stuff. Like it's really heavy, but um Taunt Me video feels special because it was like the start of the journey and
Mm,
it's quite wholesome to look back at like that video compared to like say Bloom and
hmm.
just look at like the person I am. I just feel like I look like a completely different person. Much heavier as well. Going straight edge. I've replaced binge drinking for binge eating.
Okay,
But do you
that
know
deserves a
something?
congrats as well.
Thank you. 2.5 years strong, and
Wow, yeah.
sincerely, whilst I'm heavier, I'm actually like the happiest I've ever
No,
felt. So
there you go.
yeah, Taunt Me and Chin Up Princess. There's so many. Like we've done really cool ones. Like we've done actually a lot. When I look back at what we've done in the short time, so we've been relentless. So yeah, I'm just gonna say Taunt Me and Chin Up Princess for now. But I'm sure when I come off the call, I'll be like, oh, I love this one. I
Yep,
love this one.
exactly.
Yeah.
It depends on the mood, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Well, I love your honesty, Jesse, and I got that you are a very kind of, straightforward person from, the interviews I have seen you do in the past. And I want to ask you, like, are you somebody who's kind of motivated by, I guess, rejections or people telling you you can't do stuff? And I know it's kind of the industry has become a lot more accepting of women over the years, but it's still going to be an uphill battle, I think, for just a long time, if not forever, unfortunately, just because that's how people are, right? But I guess with all of that, are you one of those kind of people who is fueled by that to motivate you? And has there been a specifically biggest obstacle? I know there's always a lot of small ones, but in the music journey for you.
Wow, so great question. So like, yeah, it's definitely improved from when I was around a long time ago. It was a very different world to where I am now. It's such a great feeling to be in a green room and have multiple women like there because their band that they front or they play in or they're part of are playing. So there's definitely a huge shift like in the right way. And like you say, there is always going to be obstacles. But my biggest motivator, it kind of is people telling me I can't, but I'm quite fueled by my band. So like if my band sort of I'll be writing something and they don't like it or they want not like don't like it or I'm quite motivated by people saying like, oh, we could like I used to be very like closed to criticism and I don't mean that in a way like I thought everything I did was great. I just
Hmm.
was like would always just deliver something and be like, that's it. But what I've really enjoyed about the process with Dream State is I feel like the guys have pushed me to like become comfortable, to be open minded, to allow things to slightly change to make them better. So I think my band do motivate me with like feedback, but also I haven't experienced touch wood anything that's super negative this time round. But I
Hmm.
guess what fuels me is I guess some of my past experiences that have maybe people telling me like she's never going to do it or like you know just making me feel like I didn't belong. And I
Right.
feel like what's really nice now is that whilst I'm still not where I want to be in the scene, it's becoming more apparent that there is like a little space for me and I'm becoming someone that people just from the feedback I have, like if people talk about or if I walk into a room, they'll be like, oh, there's you're Jessie from Dream State. Like my name's starting to become one that I feel is quite respected in terms of like what I deliver.
Hmm.
So I just kind of carry all of the old feedback and the old setbacks that kind of really fuel me to make sure that I've got a spot here now because it's a really, really fickle industry. Like you're hot one day, you're cold tomorrow. So it's like ever changing. If your face doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. And yeah, I just try and truthfully just I try and motivate myself as well. So I always try and strive to write a bit better. Or I've been writing today and I've been looking at the words and been like, can I articulate that a bit more cleverly? Like I'm just trying to like push myself constantly. So I'm a I'm a critic, the band are critics, and I guess like the pre-naysayers are. It's always great to prove the old people wrong.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's receipts, right? And you gotta keep them for
Yeah,
yourself and for when you can prove people right. So it's all fuel and in a positive direction. So
definitely.
all right, Jesse. Well, I could talk to you for a whole lot longer, but I do have to get back to some things here. I know it's getting late for you as well, so I just want to say thank you oh so much for taking the time to do this again and reaching out. And I hope to that we can do it again sometime. And I'll be continuing following your journey and looking forward to new songs that come out in 2025, whenever they may be gotten around to and whatnot. But just yeah, thank you so much, and it was really fun getting to meet you and converse for the first time. And I'll leave you, of course, with anything you want to plug specifically. I'll put it all on the video and whatnot too. But anything, I gotta leave you with the last words, of course.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you so much for having me. Maybe one day we'll come to America and you can physically
There we
watch
go.
us. But no, I just want to leave by saying if you don't follow Dream State already, please do. On all of the typical social media platforms. And yeah, just have a lovely rest of your week and thank you for listening.